Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video I'm going to be showing you how to make another YouTuber skin statue by popular demand. This time I'm going to be showing you how to make Kyrsp33dy skin, so if you want to make it, here's what you're going to need. You're going to need sandstone, brown wool, black wool, dark blue, pink, and finally white wool. This statue uses a surprising amount of colours considering how bare it is. There's a joke in there somewhere. So once you've got all of your colours and once you've figured out where you want to make it, I'm going to be making it right here. You're going to want to start out with a row of 8 sandstone in a row on the floor. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just like that. And that is going to be the base layer of our Speedy statue. So once you've got your row of 8 sandstone, here's what you want to do. You're going to want to stack another 11 rows of sandstone on top of that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I like to just mark them out and then fill them in. I find that I make less mistakes that way. Or at least that's what I like to tell myself. I still make mistakes. So, however you'd like to do it, of course. All that's important is that the end result is that you have 12 rows of 8 sandstone, just like this. And once you've done that, you have made Speedy's entire leg section. That's the quickest that I've ever made any of these statues' legs. So it's quite simple, quite bare bones, quite literally, this statue. Once you've reached this point right here, and pause this if necessary of course, if you're still catching up, once you've got your 12 rows of 8 sandstone, it's time to move on to the torso. So the torso we're going to be building like this. We're just going to be building from left to right, just calling out the colours. It's just going to be easier that way. So for the first row of the torso, here's what you want to do. You're going to want to do 3 brown wool. The rest wants to be sandstone. Next row, 1 brown, rest sandstone. Next row, 2 brown, rest sandstone. Next row, 3 brown, rest sandstone. Next row, 1 sandstone, 3 brown, the rest is sandstone. Next row, 1 sandstone, 4 brown. Let me just show you what you want to have so far, since I believe, yep, we are halfway up the torso. Going nice and quickly. So that is what you want to have so far for the torso. Very easy, it's just sandstone and brown. So how did I forget to fill the rest of the row in? I apologise for that. I'm not sure what I was thinking there, but the rest of that row wanted to be filled in with sandstone. But now we are halfway up the torso. We're 6 rows in. Pause this if necessary, of course. Once you've done that, we can continue on up the torso. So the rest of the torso is just as easy as what we've done. So for the next row, you're going to want to do 5 brown. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The rest wants to be sandstone. Remember to put it in that time. Next row, 2 brown, rest sandstone. Next row, 3 brown, rest sandstone. Next row, and this goes for the row after as well, you're just going to want to do 4 brown, rest sandstone, and as I said, the next row after that, which is the final row, 4 brown, rest sandstone, to give you something which should look a little bit, just to show you the upper half, a little bit like that. Very easy, as you can see. Looks like 2 upside down stairs have collided together for the hair. That is what you want to have, and just to show you it all as a matter of fact, since it's not really too complicated, that is what you want for the entire torso. Not too detailed, as you can see. Pause this if necessary if you're still working on that. Once you've done that, it's time for us to move on to the arms, and the arms are extremely easy. They're as easy as the legs. So here's what you want to do. You're going to want to come in line with the first row of the torso, which is this row right here, the first row that has brown in it, and you're going to want to extend out this row either side of the statue by 4 with your sandstone. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and on the other side as well, 1, 2, 3, 4, to give you something which should look a little bit like that. And I'm not sure why, but every time I do that, I always imagine that I'm turning these statues into torpedoes. I don't know why. Craziest thing whenever I add those 2 first rows on. Anyway, we're going to be working on this right arm first. Not that it matters, it's extremely simple. So all you're going to want to do for this arm is, it just wants to be entirely sandstone. So this is how I'm going to do this. This end row here, I'm going to bring it right up to the top of the torso like that. connect it together at the top to form the shoulder, and I'm just going to fill it in with sandstone. Simple as that. That's all you want for the arm. Very easy. So you just want something which should look like that. Pause that if necessary, of course. Once you've done that, just work your way onto the other arm. The other arm is the exact same, so just make it into a shape and fill it in, or however you like to do it. Maybe you like to do the rows individually, I don't know. I'm not in your head. So that is what you want for both of the arms. Very simple. Pause this if you're still working on that. Let me show you what you want for the statue so far. So that, once you've reached this point right here, look how plain that looks. Once you've reached this point right here, you have done the entire front of the statue, so pause this if necessary, of course. Once you have indeed reached this point, it's time for us to move on to the back. So you're going to want to come down to the bottom of your statue, you're going to want to come around the back here. And what you're going to want to do, I always find this difficult to explain, is you're going to want to do a row of 3 sandstone coming out from the back of the edge of the feet. So 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. I'm not sure why I keep trying to explain that. I don't know why I just do it. So you just want to have those 2 rows of 3 sandstone coming out of the back of the statue towards you, like that. That's what you want to have. What you then want to do, once you've got your 2 rows of 3, is just connect them together from the back blocks. So you're going to want to have something which should look like that. And in doing that, you have made the base of the statue. So now we can build up the entire back of the statue just as we've done the front, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So for now, ignoring these 2 side blocks that we have here on the left and the right hand side, we're just going to want to focus on these back 8 and build up the back. Here's what you want to do. You're going to want to stack 11 rows of sandstone on top of this back row of sandstone, just as you did on the front. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Although, I didn't really have to count that out. I could have just lined it up with what we have on the front of the statue, but, you know, never mind. So, again, however you'd like to then do that, just make sure that you have, in total, 12 rows of 8 sandstone on the back of the statue. And once you've done that, you will have done the entire back of the legs, which should have took you roughly a minute and a half. So that is what you want for the entire back of the legs. Not particularly sure why I'm showing it you. Once you've reached this point right here, and again, pause this if you need to catch up, it's time for us to move on to the back. I always say the back of the back. I don't know why, but that's a weird thing to say for me. Anyway, for the back of the back, here's what you're going to want to do for the first row. So the first row is just entirely sandstone. So on top of your what will be 12 rows of sandstone, you're just going to want to throw 1 more on top. For the next row, you're going to want to do this. You want to have 2 sandstone coming in from the left and the right hand side towards the centre, leaving those 4 blocks, which you then want to fill in with brown wool. For the next row, a little easier, but in the same vein, throw a single sandstone on the ends of the row, and then everywhere else wants to be filled in with brown wool. For the next row, just going from left to right, you're going to want to do 1 brown, the rest wants to be sandstone. For the next row, you're going to want to do this. You're going to want to have 5 brown, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2 sandstone, 1 brown. For the next row, and this is the last row that we're going to do here since it's getting kind of dark. For the next row, you're going to want to do 5 brown, 1 sandstone, 1 brown, 1 sandstone to give you something which should look a little bit like that. And I think that coincidentally we have worked our way up half of the back, have we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, we have. That is half of the back complete. Might be a little hard to see in the dark since it kind of melds into the front of the statue, but pause this if necessary. I'm going to be showing you this again in the light since it is somewhat difficult, so back in a sec. So this is what you want to have for the back of the statue so far. As you can see, it's a little easier to see in the daylight. So once you've reached this point right here, and again, pause this if necessary of course, it's time for us to finish the back. So here's what you're going to want to do. And again, still going from left to right unfortunately. As a matter of fact, this row is ever so slightly different. No, it's not. You're going to want to do 5 brown wool, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the rest of the row wants to be sandstone. For the next row, this row is slightly different. You're going to want to, on the left-hand side, do a single sandstone. On the right-hand side, do 2 sandstone coming in towards the centre, and then fill the rest of the row in with brown wool. For the next row, I'm sorry, I thought the postman just came. For the next row, you're going to want to do this. You're going to want to have a single sandstone on the ends of the row, and then the rest of the row wants to be brown wool. For the next and final 2 rows, you're going to want to do 2 solid rows of brown wool. So however you want to do that, just throw 2 rows of brown wool on top of what you have to give you something which should look, once you've completed it, a little bit like this. So as you can see, fairly simple, more brown than sandstone. Makes a nice change for this statue. Once you've reached this point right here, and again, pause this if you have to catch up, it's time for us to move on to the back of the arms. And the back of the arms are extremely easy, and here's why. They're the exact same as the front of the arm, so to do them, all you're going to want to do is copy what you have on the front. So in the exact same position, using the exact same blocks, you're just going to want to copy the front of the arms, and there is nothing more to it. So just line up the back of the arm with the front of the arm. There you go. Fill it in with sandstone. Nothing much to it whatsoever. And once you've done that, move on to the other arm. Fill them in how you wish. All that really matters is that the back of the arms are in line with the front of the arms, and of course completely sandstone to give you something which should look like that. Once you've reached this point right here, and pause this if necessary of course if you're still working on the arms, let me just show you what you have for the entire back of the statue. Entire back of the statue is somewhat plain, just as the front, but a lot less plain since there's more hair. But this is what you want to have for the entire back of the statue. Once you've reached this point right here, it's time for us to move on to the sides. So coming over to the sides, here's what you want to do, and this doesn't really require much explaining. You just want the entire sides of the statue to be filled in with sandstone. So for the legs here, you're just going to want to fill the entire side of the legs in with sandstone, like this, coming up to the bottom of the hand. Like so. What you then want to do for the arms, just fill in the bottom of the arm in with sandstone, like that. Then fill in the side of the arm with sandstone. And of course, the shoulder in with sandstone as well. So, and of course for the shoulder, as always, you only have to come in by 3 with your sandstone, so just on the outskirts of that brown wool there. So let me just show you what that wants to look like. I'm not sure why I'm bothering since it's just entirely sandstone, but that is what you want for the entire side of the statue. Very easy. Pause this if necessary. Once you've reached this point, it's time to go over and do the other side. So the other side is the exact same. You just want to fill everything in with sandstone. I'm going to do this a little bit faster, although I'm not sure how I'd manage to do that. Just fill in the bottom, sides and top of the arms in with sandstone, and if I can place the blocks right. Once you've done that, you should be left with something that should look a little bit like that. And once you've reached this point right here, and again, pause this if you need to catch up, you have done 80% of the statue. Give yourself a little bit of a pat on the back, because now, once you have indeed reached this point, you've done the entire front, the entire back, and the entire sides of the statue, it's time for you to move on to the head of the statue. So, the head is easy, but a little bit more complicated than what we've been doing. So what you're going to want to do is come up to the top of the front of your statue, so right here, and on top of these original 8 blocks of the torso, these 8 right here, you're going to want to stack on a row of 8 brown wool, so directly on top of them, like that. What you're then going to want to do is then stack a row of 8 brown in front of that row of 8 brown, so you're going to want to do that. What you then want to do, and this is going to be the working row, this is going to be the first row of the face, so in front of this row of brown that you've just placed, you're going to want to, on the left and right hand side of the row, place a single brown, place 2 pink blocks in the 2 middle spots of the row, and then place sandstone everywhere else, and that will give you the first row of the face, and that should just be overhanging the front of the statue by 2 rows like that. So once you have done this, and there you go, pause that if necessary, it's time for us to move onto the rest of the face, and the face is obviously being built on top of here. So for the next row, you're just going to want to place a single brown on the most left block of the row, and then the rest of the row wants to be sandstone. For the next row, this is slightly trickier, unfortunately. Going from left to right, here's what you want to do. 2 brown, 1 blue, 2 sandstone, 2 blue, 1 brown. Like that. what you want to do for the next row, and again, left to right, you're going to want to do 3 brown, 2 sandstone, 1 blue, 1 white, 1 black. For the next row, you're going to want to do 4 brown, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 sandstone, 2 black, 1 brown. Like so. For the next row, easy to explain. On top of these 2 black blocks here, you're just going to want to place 2 sandstone, and then the rest of the row wants to be brown. And once you've reached this point right here, all you have to do is 2 solid rows of brown wool, and then the face is completed. Nothing much to it whatsoever. Nice little face though, look at that. Isn't that adorable? So that's what you want for the face. Pause this if necessary, of course. The most complicated thing on the statue. Once you've done that, it's time for us to do the rest of the head. So, coming around to the back of the head here, where we have this original row of brown wool that started off the head, you're going to want to, with your brown wool, extend it back over the back of the statue until it overhangs the back of the statue by 2 rows. So, just as I'm doing now, that should be the second row that overhangs to give you something which should look like that from the side. It's as simple as that. And once you have done that, once you've reached this point right here, the rest of the head is easy because it is just completely brown. So just to show you what we're going to be doing, whatever preferred method you'd like to use to fill in the rest of the head, I like to make it into a giant cube. You may have noticed, to fill stuff in, I like to turn it into shapes and then fill them in. That's what I'm doing, but whatever your preferred method may be, all that matters is that you have a giant cube of brown wool for the rest of the head. So, I'm just going to be doing this. Very simple. Nothing much to it whatsoever. However, it is somewhat tedious, if it is anything. And I think I have one more thing to do after this, although it is an optional extra for the rest of this statue. Because we have technically, once this is filled in, we have technically finished with the statue. However, there is something which might spruce it up a little bit. Let's be honest with ourselves, as nice of a skin as it may be, it's a little plain. So, once you've filled in the entire head in with brown wool, and that may take you a little while, here's what you're going to do, and we're going to work into the darkness with this. So, this is an optional extra once you have reached this point. Pause this if necessary, of course. This is an optional extra that I've just thought of. Maybe to give the statue a little bit more volume, a little bit more life. I'm just going to raise out the hair on the front and back of the statue out by 1 block, like this. Now, you may or may not like it. As I said, it's an optional extra. I haven't done this on my original statue, so you may or may not want to do this. I'm not even sure how it'll look, but it probably won't look too terrible. So, just extend out the hair on the front and back of the statue, if you wish. And I'm hoping that it might just make it look a little less plain. Just a little bit. You know? It's, I think we can admit to ourselves that this skin, although it is intentionally plain as it is just a naked lady, I feel as though it could be made a little better. So I'm going to show you this once I have daylight again, so I'll be back in a second. So once you've reached this point in the video, the tutorial is officially over. If you and I have done our jobs correctly, you should have a nice little finished statue. I hope that you guys had an easy enough time making this. However, at the end of my builds, I've become accustomed to just giving you a nice little 360-degree view of them with the UI off, just to have a bit of a look, have a bit of a talk about them. I have to say, I think I do like the air quotes over these improvements that I've made to the statue. I like the hair raised out, especially on the back. I'm not entirely sure about the front section of the hair that's raised out, but the back, yeah. This is probably the easiest statue that I've ever tutorialed. It's probably the quickest. I wouldn't be surprised if it's in the very low 20-minute mark. So, I hope that you guys had an easy enough time. I don't have anything to say about this statue. I like it, very plain. That's not always a bad thing. Hope you guys had a very easy time. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, maybe you should think about subscribing. I have plenty more stuff like this on my channel. I have tutorials ranging from YouTube statues, skin statues, houses, pixel art, the list goes on. Thanks for watching.